Today, we are opening the show with former U.S. Attorney, fighter for freedom and justice, Joe DiGenova. Welcome to America First, Joe.
Thank you so much, Sebastian.
So much to talk about. This is the longest segment of the show, so I'm very glad that you could make time for us at the open. I want to talk about this incredible transcript that has been released of Lisa Page's closed testimony to Congress from last summer. Spellbinding facts have been released. But before we do that, I'd like to get your reaction to what was the result of the district court sentencing of Paul Manafort now for his second time.
Well, he gets a consecutive sentence to the one that was imposed in Virginia, so he's going to do at least 7.5 years in prison, which is in essence a death penalty. I think the sentences by themselves are awful. I don't blame the judge in Virginia. I just think the judge in Washington should have made the sentences concurrent. These are not the crimes of the century. Even the judge recognized that Mr. Manafort was not public enemy number one, but she didn't like his conduct. She didn't like his activities while he was before her court. So she decided to take it out on him. I think it's outrageous, and I would hope eventually that the president pardons him so that at least he doesn't have that to worry about. I'm appalled at everything that Robert Mueller has done in this case to people like Manafort. Manafort is not a saint, but that's not what this is about.
No.
But for this investigation, he never gets caught up in this. And I'm just appalled by the entire process. And I hope that the Attorney General, our new Attorney General, Bill Barr, looks into all the stuff that hasn't been looked into that you and I care so deeply about.
Let's be clear before we move on to the next topic. What he has been convicted of today is mortgage fraud and falsifying business records. Nothing to do with the election in 2016, nothing to do with Russia, and nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Correct and eloquently put. This was a non-collusion case that never should have been brought, but it was, and it proves conclusively, as the president noted in his news conference just a few minutes ago, that there was no collusion. There never was. Everybody knew it, including everybody in justice, and including Mr. Rosenstein. May he rot in hell.
Succinctly put. That's why we love Joe DiGenova. We've got 5 minutes to talk about this incredible set of transcripts. So I'm just going to give one sentence summary and then unleash the dogs of war. That's what we like to call Joe DiGenova. So this lady, Lisa Page, who was an FBI lawyer, testified to Congress last summer in a closed session. The transcripts have just been released, and according to Page, the FBI repeatedly discussed charging Hillary Clinton with gross negligence for the handling of classified material on a private, unsecure server. And the DOJ, and I'm going to quote directly from what she said, the Department of Justice, this is now the congressman asking Lisa Page, told you, quote, you're not going to charge gross negligence. Response from Lisa Page, that is correct. Your comments, Joe DiGenova.
Well, Loretta Lynch, Sally Yates, John Carlin, who ran the national security section of the Justice Department, would have been responsible for this decision. This is an outrageous case. And here's what really makes me mad, Sebastian, besides the substance. Bob Goodlatte, the former chairman, could have released these transcripts last year.
Right.
Why didn't he do it? Why didn't Goodlatte release these transcripts when they could have had a profound effect, perhaps even on the election, the midterm elections? I think what Goodlatte's tenure as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee will go down as a disgrace to the Republican Party. But this is clear now. The Obama, Lynch, Yates, Carlin Justice Department covered up a crime for Hillary Clinton. We now know that not only was the FBI at the highest level involved, but they actually eventually agreed with the department because Comey made sure that they did. But when all is said and done, this is Obama. This is all about Obama. He didn't want her prosecuted, and Lynch talked to him about it, and I will bet you dimes to dollars Lynch talked about it on that tarmac in Phoenix, Arizona, with Bill Clinton.
Right. As a legal professional, as a former U.S. attorney, Joe, can you tell us, just give us the classes and the significance of the crimes committed by these actors at the DOJ and the FBI? What kinds of things have they committed by blocking that prosecution?
Well, I think that what they did was they politically corruptly, denied the American people the opportunity to have someone held accountable. What they did was they violated the standards for equal justice under the law. They knew that she had violated many of the espionage statutes. By the way, they said they didn't think, the DOJ people said they thought the gross negligence standard was too vague and was probably unenforceable because they couldn't prove intent. Well, there was plenty of proof of intent. The destruction of all the emails, the deletion of 33,000 emails, that's consciousness of guilt. They knew that. This was a corrupt declining of prosecution. Whether or not they could be prosecuted criminally for it, I would give it a chance. I would force them to defend being corruptly influenced by making a political decision and not a true law enforcement decision. But all of them, every single one of them, from the top to the bottom of the Justice Department, protected her improperly, and they completely created a dual standard of justice when they went after the incoming president of the United States, Donald Trump, where there was no evidence of any crime committed by him or anyone around him. This is the disgrace that what I would charge them with was the framing of Carter Page, the framing of George Papadopoulos, the framing of Donald Trump. I would charge them with those crimes, denying civil rights to all of these people.
What about General Flynn? What about General Flynn?
Oh, my God. How could I forget, of course, General Flynn, who was framed by McCabe and by those people. And this, to me, is what I would charge them with criminally. And this is what I hope Bill Barr is going to investigate. Not only that, I would charge them all, and believe me, every one of them was involved in this, the unmasking of people under the FISA warrants and the leaking of that information to the press, which were violations of the espionage statute.
We have literally 30 seconds left. I worked in the Defense Department for 5.5 years. I worked in the White House. I've had clearances. You've worked for the government. What happens if you or I had released 108 top-secret SCI, SAP classified documents onto a private server, Joe DiGenova?
We would have been indicted immediately. We would have had our security clearance taken away, and we would have been fired.
Exactly. That's the clarity that we love in Joe DiGenova.